Aaron's taking a break. You got y'all hurting his feelings today. My gosh, all these comments hurting
I
his
can leave the
feelings.
show. I mean, if y'all don't like me,
We like you. We like you. All right,
I'm
let's
just kidding.
move.
I ain't that soft. Let's get it.
No, we know you're not. So let's get into this, guys. I'm probably not going to take the stance you guys think I'm going to take. Ryan Day's comments, although I love them, you let an 86-year-old man get to you that much? Come on. Really? What
I don't
did
care what got to him as long as something got to him, for the love of God.
Hey, that's locker room material. Deion Sanders is making his season based off of that.
But we see where that's landed him.
Yeah, where did that get him? That got him a
Okay, but
40
we're not
something.
Colorado. We are tremendously better than that.
But
It's
which
working
is,
for us.
do we need both? Do we really need that to get ourselves fired up? Like
It helps.
if that's what fires you up, then what are you doing?
No, you don't
Seriously.
need it. You don't need it.
It
It's
sure
fuel on the
feels like he
fire that's
did.
already there.
Okay. All right. Let me say this. Yeah. I
You,
actually
Brian,
kind of Robert
I was gonna
says
say, yeah, I
said
was
to
gonna
say
say,
Lou ain't
I've been
wrong.
talking. I was gonna say I've been talking all season about how soft our offensive line is, and they have been until last night. They looked much better last night, but they have been softer than baby crap all season long. I'm not gonna sit here and
Yeah.
pretend they weren't.
This is what okay. Julia's
yeah.
on it. Julia's hitting on it, okay? It wasn't just comments by Lou. Look at the social media the past 4 weeks. I completely agree with Julia. I think she's hitting the nail on the head with this. Okay,
He's had
which
enough.
he's had enough, and
Yeah,
he's sick of it. He's going to start defending his players. Why take it out on national media on an 86-year-old coach who he has a relationship with? This is what happened. Okay, Lou Holtz and Ryan Day know one another. Do you recall when Lou Holtz was at Ohio Stadium? Was it 2 years ago where they brought him in for as one of the assistant coaches for Woody Hayes that won the national championship?
it was a
And they
spring game.
Yeah.
they honored him
Yeah,
and other
yeah,
coaches, right? And he
I
got
think
the
so.
standing ovation and everything. And Ryan Day, talked about how awesome it was to have Lou there. And obviously they had talked and that relationship was building. I think right that what Lou said hurt him, like emotionally hurt
It
him.
it hurt
And
it
he
hurt his feelings like Aaron's been hurt
Yeah,
today.
and he lashed out on national media. If you go back and listen real close to right before he speaks, and Jerry, the media guy
Yeah.
from Ohio State, says, "Take a breath, Ryan," and Ryan goes, "Watch this."
Yeah.
And then he unloads on on national media. Like, I think Lou Holtz actually hurt his feelings, and like Julia said, this has been building up for weeks, and he lashed out on national media. Um, yeah, Julia makes a good point too. Then Lou should have respected Coach Day. Lou called him out by name. Yes, he did,
Yes.
but Ryan Day's also the head coach of the football team. That comes with the territory, you know. Um, it's it to me. I probably would have said something if I was Ryan without saying Lou Holtz by name. But you bring up a good point, Julia. Lou also mentioned him by name, which is why maybe Ryan felt like it was okay to release the dragon here and let it all out.
You know what? Let's get out there and make a few enemies. Let's get fired up and let people know that.
Make a
That's what
few
I'm
enemies,
saying.
Chris. I'm
Thank
pretty
you.
Absolutely.
sure like we
You know
have
what? He should
plenty
feel
of
lucky it
them.
was Ryan Day and not Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer would have went and kicked him in the crotch.
Like, I don't want to hear any of this. It's business, not personal.
It is
Well,
personal.
my business is personal. This is what I do. If we don't perform, if we don't win, I don't have a job. So yeah, it is personal. I don't care if you're 186 years old. I am glad he did what he did.
Brian. I don't get mad at my geriatric
Dude,
grandpa with
you
dementia
you
when he
won't
says
even use
something
your
mean.
real name. Stop. Just stop. You're scared to use your real name on a comment. Just quit.
It's his handle on
Ridiculous.
YouTube, Aaron.
I
It's just
don't
his
care.
handle. Come on. Jeez.
Mr. Caddy.
According to Irish fans, Day has no class. If that's true, what does that say about Lou Holtz and his class? This is
Nobody's
so
got class.
this is so juvenile, dude. It's so juvenile.
That's
It's
why we
what
love
it
it,
is.
Aaron.
That's why.
That's exactly why we love it. That's exactly why.
Sarah's getting fired up for you, Chris.
All right.
Yes.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Look at that. He's calling you
Finally.
up, buddy. There you go.
Finally.
Anthony. All right. Pleasure, Anthony. All
yes,
right.
Anthony. Good to see your name.
Oh, Julia, we have plenty of enemies. Yes, we do. We now need to walk the walk. Yeah. Okay, so let's move this forward because I was listening to, I want to give them credit. I was listening to Doug Maurice and last night his immediate reaction of the game, and he said that he feels and he knows on a media side of things, he knows Ryan Day better than anybody. He's interviewed Ryan Day more than anybody else in the media has. He has more one-on-one time than anybody else in the media because he's been on the beat pretty much longer than anybody, and he's very well respected by Ryan Day in Ohio State. And so they usually give him more opportunities to interview Ryan Day. So taking that into account, he said that this has been building on Ryan Day ever since the first loss to that team up north 2 years ago. And that the narrative of him not being tough enough or physical enough has been wearing on him, and it all came out last night. What do you think about that?
I don't believe that it's wrong. I think that's probably 100% accurate. But you know what? You don't want to get that, you don't want to get that reputation. Go out there and prove you're tough enough. And I think they took a big step towards that yesterday. Not only did Ryan Day take a step towards that, but you look at a kid like Marvin Harrison yesterday. This is the second week in a row that he's gotten banged up. And I'll tell you, we saw the season flash before our eyes 2 weeks in a row, Eric. You had even mentioned it last night. You thought, if this is anything, he's going to shut it down. And that kid gets his helmet and goes back out there on a sprained ankle and goes out there and contributes. And I'll tell you right now, and I truly believe this, and I believe even Day referenced this, if Marvin Harrison isn't out there to draw those double teams, I don't know that Egbuka is open for those one-on-one opportunities.
Yeah, it was.
So, but, I think a lot of these guys, whether it's Josh Fryer, and yeah, it was a stupid penalty, but whether it's Fryer, whether it was, Day, whether it was Harrison, these guys went out to make a statement and say, you think we're soft, well, we're going to prove to you that we're not. And I think that's what happened.
Agreed. I don't see how we go any other way with it.
If they're not soft, then they're just not as good as Notre Dame's offensive line. I'm just being
That may
truthful.
be a fact, Eric. We may not have an offensive line as good as that team up north.
Here's the thing.
But you know what? We gotta step up, be better, and show that we're tougher. Whether it's mentally, physically, whatever.
They've also only played 4 games together. That team up north's O-line has a season or 2 in their belt working together.
We're at a crossroads here. And maybe we're the only podcast right now that's going to get to this, but the other ones will eventually catch up with us. We're at a crossroads here. Ryan Day, because he's been questioned about his toughness and winning in the Big Ten in the trenches so much, has tried to, in a way, beat his head against the wall on short yardage.
Yes.
And it's been unsuccessful.
Yes.
And he's getting frustrated with it. That's what the whole end around was about. Okay?
Yeah.
I got to try to do something different here on short yardage. So, because of that frustration, we have to decide what kind of offense we are going to be and go with it, because we can't be both. It's
The
not
team has no
working.
identity.
It's not work either. We are going to say, gosh darn it, whether we're going to Woody Hayes this thing and we're going to 3 yards in a cloud of dust, or we're going to say, you know what? We got a quarterback, we've got great receivers, let's just wing it. Let's go. But
And you know what the problem with that theory is, though, Eric? Is that we've got some offensive linemen who are good in pass protect, and we've got some offensive linemen who are good in run blocking,
do we?
but we don't have anybody who's exceptional at both.
I'm just telling you guys, man, like
And,
when we
and
played
this goes
Georgia,
back to
we played Georgia, he let it loose. Let's go throw the football. It's who we are, it's our identity. Let's go do it. But then all of a sudden, where's that guy go? And we try to run it on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. We beat our heads against the wall. Yes, we scored the touchdown on it, and you celebrate toughness. Yeah, that's great. We all love it.
You're comparing apples to oranges, man. Last year's
Help
team.
me out, brother.
Well, last year's team in the semifinal, you can't compare to the 4th game of the season this year.
Yeah, you don't have a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback right now.
We can talk about
but he's not there right now.
Well, we can talk about Kyle McCord's trajectory being better or similar than CJ Stroud's, okay? And he won against, a comparable game that CJ lost to in Oregon. But the difference is that Oregon team that played Ohio State played against a real trash defense.
Yes.
This is 2 years of defense, and an experienced defense that mostly played together last year. Now we have an offense that hasn't played together. We got experience outside, but where does the game start and stop? The offensive line. Where do we have the least experience? The offensive line. They have not gelled together that much. We're 4 games deep. Now, if we make to the national semifinal, that could be entirely different. What you saw last night will look entirely different 8, 9, 10 games from now. So we can't compare a team that had 2 years of experience under their belt with CJ Stroud against Georgia at the end of a season to a team with no experience together 4 games deep into a new season.
Fair enough. Julia Fitch, do we look better than Oregon or Washington? Can I be honest? I haven't really watched them. So I can't.
I'll tell you, Washington. I've watched Washington, and Washington looks for real.
They look good.
They
got a good quarterback.
Fly around on defense.
Yes, they do.
They have who I think is going to be the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. I really believe that Washington is a for real team that could maybe finally be one of the guy who breaks the Pac-10's or Pac-12's curse and gets a team into the playoff.
Sammy liked what you said there, Aaron. You got 1 vote from him. There you go.
Well, thank you, Sammy.
Frank, whose opinion who I respect quite a bit. I hope we gain an identity as the season moves along, and as McCord gains more experience, I hope this line gels. That's the key to either being a CFP contender or a 2-loss team. I agree with everything you guys are saying. Okay, but here's my point. Is Ryan Day's concern about being tough and changing the narrative about toughness, does that affect his ability to clearly identify the most positive aspects of this team offensively when it comes to play calling?
Well, first of all, let's not mistake tough with physical. They're 2 different things. You can be mentally tough, and I think that's where we are lacking quite a bit.
Do you?
I do. I think at times, and I think that's where Ryan Day suffers at times.
I disagree with that. I think
that Ryan Day, and exactly what you're saying is to the fact that Ryan Day lacks that mental toughness at times.
Marvin Harrison,
because Marvin Harrison is a different beast. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you that right now. Marvin Harrison is mentally, physically, he's just tough, physical all around. But you know what? I do believe we lack some physicality on the line. But mental toughness, I think is something that we lack in a lot of positions. Now, that could be a lack of confidence, aka McCord coming in the first few weeks as he's starting to try to get comfortable. I think that one's been cured. I really do after that last drive. But Day, his inability to win big games, all the people whispering in his ear, the very thing you're talking about, Eric, as far as him trying to, I guess, basically please people and be more tough. Is that him doubting himself? A bit of a mental toughness that he's lacking.
Frank just answered my question for me. I just think Day isn't ready to let the chains off of McCord, which hinders his aggressiveness. Okay,
Thank you.
that makes
And
sense.
I can believe
Thank
that
you.
too.
That makes sense to me. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, because I'm watching this game, and at times, like that last drive, like that's letting it all hang out right there, right?
Yeah.
But then there at times it's like I gotta play safe, and Julia says Coach Day was looking for respect. RESPECT. All right, let's. Ryan Day got some of it last night. I think he definitely got respect. We played his clip at the beginning of this video of a
Yeah,
show tonight.
wasn't it somebody asking about when Day was going to get some audio
Yeah,
time there at the beginning of the show
yeah,
a while
that's
back?
right. That's
Hey,
right.
Anthony's got a good question here.
Okay.
Check that out.
What do you all think of this, fellas? Notre Dame still has a shot in the playoffs because everyone in the Big Ten today still has to play each other. Everyone will at least have one or more losses. Agree? Yes,
Yes.
I do. I
But
tell you,
here's the thing I will say with Notre Dame. If you looked at their schedule, the stretch it's coming up,
oh, it's
they have
brutal.
Duke, they've
Yeah.
got USC coming up,
Louisville,
Louisville,
who's undefeated.
yeah, and scores a lot of
Clemson.
points. And Clemson.
Um,
You've
it's
got 4 legitimate challenges on that
they
schedule.
absolutely will not fall in the polls very much. You can't. That
No.
game was so close. Neither team should fall. So
If they can win out,
if
they
Notre
should be a
Dame
playoff
wins
team.
out, they have a very legitimate shot of being a playoff team. I absolutely agree with that. But a lot of that will depend on how USC and Ohio State does. Because if one of those two teams are in, you have to beat USC first off. You can't go 0-2 against Ohio State and USC. That probably eliminates you. And you can't trip up against someone who you aren't expecting to, such as a Duke or Clemson or Louisville. Um, Donald Hoffer, mental toughness is a hard thing to evaluate, especially only watching a team through a TV screen. That's true, Donald. Now, if we are there to see the day-to-day operations of the team, I think it'll give a better light to make that evaluation. That's a fair
I
statement.
don't disagree, but
Yeah, but at the end of the day, this is Sammy. This is what we all agree with. It needs to happen in that game. It
yeah,
needs to happen in that game. But that's a long way off, and there are some serious roadblocks ahead of us. Our next
including next
game,
game. Yeah,
our next game in 2 weeks after the bye week is against an undefeated Maryland team
and
who
they're no
is
joke.
rolling.
They
Is
look good.
rolling. You've got Penn State coming in the shoe later in the month of October. They are so much more improved, guys. They look hungry. In
They
fact,
might be the best team in the Big Ten, if not the nation,
they
right now.
look like the best team of the Big Ten right now, all combined, offensively, defensively, as a complete team. They look like the best in the Big Ten. So you have that.